What's going on, everybody? Get the camera set there. There we go. Alright, I'm going to start up my trying something a little different tonight here. Let the video audio, I started the stuff upstairs and then come down here and turn the camera on, so I know there's a delay. Let me get my phone turned on here. So matter of fact, let me put it in its little holder. The barking dogs. Put my phone in the holder here. We'll get started tonight. Was trying to do it live yesterday night and then earlier today, but there was always something going on. Let's get off this. Let's get this going. So that way, if you guys have any questions, I can answer them. Bingo. I may have to restart it. Okay, let me go upstairs real quick, guys and gals. Get this started. See if we're working now. Bear with me, guys and gals. What is going on around here? There we go. Let's try this again. Try to keep this sucker going correctly. Having fun. Alright, I think I got it figured out. Alright, let's see here. Yay, team. Alright, bear with me, guys. I am trying to get this straight. I'm going to move this thing over here. Let's see. Cool, glad to hear. Hello, hello. Anybody out there? Yep. Alright. Some audio here. Can you hear me now? Hello, anybody out there? Yep. Okay. Alright, I'm going to turn the audio back down on this here. Sorry, guys. Little technical difficulty. Hopefully I've got the, now I've got my phone sitting over there out of the way. Sorry for all the intro mess up. I know this video is going to upload into a real video. Had some trouble. I readjusted some things. Hopefully in this video it won't have the widescreen look. I went in and adjusted the settings. So Saturday night here, April 2018. I've got my phone over there with the channel so I can see what we're going to be doing. Several things, guys and gals. I enjoy the conversation. So as a reminder, when this video completes, it turns into a regular video. Your comments go away. I will try to, because viewers have requested, I read the questions so they're not lost about what I'm talking about. Totally understandable. So there's a question. Let me see. We're doing good. Boom. Okay. All right. We have Digger Op, Ralph Brown. All right. That's all I can see right now. So what we're going to be doing, I'm going to set my head over here, working on the gears. So I did a bunch of cutting. I wasn't going to show it all on video. It's already set up in the mill. What we're going to start off with, and I'll pan down here and we'll get started. All right, and I've got the garage door open. It was a nice sweltering 85 degrees today, and this evening we had a lot of humidity come in. All right, get this out of the way here, not needed. Right now, let's do a little setup adjustment. All right, so we have the gears. So update, when I was welding, or I already welded these off camera, this gear in particular, I'll show you. I've talked about this before. Okay. Now, I decided to go ahead and do this the rest of the way, just so you guys will learn. That's why I'm doing it. So, that tooth came out successful. As you guys remember, I got my little awl here. To show you how deep some of these, this gear was made between 1890 and 1920. Okay, casting techniques back then were not the greatest. You can see how deep, like that hole is that deep, this hole is that deep, then there's that hole that is literally that deep, and you can see all the rest of them there. So machined all this, started cutting this tooth, and boom, it broke. There was a hollow inside this tooth that broke. So I was like, well, crap. I'm still going to go ahead, weld it up. We're going to go through the whole exercise. We're going to cut it. This will be the backup, although the new one I'm making will probably never wear out because it's out of 4140. But we're still going to weld it up along with the other gear. I'm going to show you the preheat process, how I do it. Again, we're using silicon bronze. You could use aluminum bronze. I'm going to TIG weld with silicon bronze. That's what we're going to show and demonstrate. Let me go ahead and set this little scribe back here. We're going to get started. So, I just have a setup plate here, an angle plate, and I figured I'd do them together just because it's handy that way. So we're going to, and they are clamped flat against this. Now we're going to preheat. I've got a little Harbor Freight thermometer. It stops at 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So right now the temperature is a whopping 78 degrees. We want it between 350 and 400 where we're going to be welding. You don't just come in here and start welding. You have to heat these up. When we get done, we're going to put them in the oven and let them cool off overnight. So let me turn the gas on over here and we'll get started. All right. Okay. And I have a big, because this is bright, I don't want to, I've got a big face shield here to shade the eyes from all the bright, So we're just going to get started here and we're going to preheat these up. See where we're at real quick. So 378 is the max temp on there, and that little one is 300, 324. Good enough. We just don't want it cold. I'm going to shut the gas off of this, and we'll start in here welding real quick like. Not that it's really cold outside, but we definitely got our preheat where we wanted it. Let's fire up the welder. And we got our silicon bronze. Hat on real quick. My arm covers, so I don't take my arms. Okay, I'm going to move my chair over here so I can get a good seat. Arm cover on. All right. helmet. Got a fresh tungsten in here. Good to go. I don't know if I turn my gas on. Yep, gas is on. So we'll start with a nice long piece here that we're already wiped down ahead of time. So this first one I'm just going to do at a distance. Actually, I'll do this one first, and then I'll zoom in. I'll let you guys see this one. Actually, let me go ahead and zoom into the first one. Pardon me. Okay, that'll give you guys enough room to see what's going on. Alright, here we go. Now we're doing PC TIG, and I've got it set on 200 amps. I'm running a 2% lanthanated tungsten, 3/32 diameter, and we're going to build this up taller and wider because we're going to machine it down. We're going to let that cool, and then we'll fill in on each side, but I'm going to do that flat. Okay? Now I'm going to move you down here to this other piece. There we go. All right. You don't want to get it too hot and have it just turn into a blob. Whoop. Sure I get a good tie-in over to this other piece of silicon bronze here. Make sure you get it tall enough, that's the other thing. A little bit more just at the top of this edge right here. Back the camera up just a little bit. Oh, other way. Alright, I know there's a bunch of questions up there, guys. Let me get this done real quick. You know, that's very, very, very hot. Get this side done. That side. I'm going to leave that because my ground is up at the bottom of this, and you can see me weld up these here. Alright. That one over real quick. Grab my other piece of silicon bronze. Normally, other filler metals, you just throw the short pieces away. Silicone bronze isn't cheap, so and what I'm doing here, I'm going to save some money. There we go. You can see when I was heating that stuff coming out of those pores popping out of there. See if I get some down into that. That's more of, I just want to see if I can get some in there, and if there's an area right on that side of the tooth. Now normally, I mean, it's like, again, this one's going to be a shelf ornament, literally, when we get done, but I'm wanting to show you guys, still go through with the process, even though the new one I'm making will replace this. This will be a good deal for Randy Co. Again, that's who this belongs to. I'm going to get something, because I don't want to grab these by hand, they're hot. Over, get the other side here. I just got to do a little bit of add-on here, and same thing on this one. A little on the other side. Oh, not too bad. Alright. Start off with a new long piece here. And add a little bit more right here. Alright, that one out of the way. And now this one right here. Heat it up a little bit. Just a little bit on this corner here. There we go. Alright. We're done with that. Shut the gas off, shut the welder off. Alright. Now, I have some very special gloves for handling stuff like this. Let me get my door open on my kiln here. I'm not going to turn the kiln on. It's just a place where I can put them that I know that they are not going to, they can cool off properly. So, I have some aluminum gloves, or firefighting gloves. We don't want to hold this very long. Yes, the gauntlets. Let me pull these off. Oh, I'm getting stuck in there. The gauntlet gloves for handling hot stuff, because I know it'll burn through leather. Yes, the aluminum gloves. All right, these are pretty handy. I got these this last Christmas from Amazon. Alright, set both these here real quick into the oven. Here's in and cooling down. Alright, so ta-da! Make sure I back you guys out. Whoop, other way. I always do that. So there we go. Use for aluminum gloves. Yeah, I got these. I got gift cards, which I usually do every year. Amazon. You can get the whole suits, or if you need just the gloves, you need to handle hot burning items, and I've got an oven. You saw it right there, because they would burn through leather normally, even if they're thick, heavy. Right there, I mean, you could see where it kind of burned. When I was touching that one piece, it flashed off. But still, real quick, grab it, cooler area, very handy. We put these back in over here. I know there's lots of questions. Let me go look at the thing and I'll start answering questions. All right. So bear with me while I move the camera. I don't need this anymore. I believe gas is off. Yep, okay. Alright. Bear with me while I move the camera a little bit, guys and gals. Okay. I'm going to try to set you up to where you can see right here what's going on. And as you can see right down here is the camera, or the phone. Let's see, questions. Yep, Virginia snowing. So I'm in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, Ralph. So that was the question. I'll go ahead and read through the questions for those. So the first question we have is Ralph Brown asks, where are you at? I'm in Virginia and it's snowing. I'm in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. It's just north of Albuquerque. Digger Up says, rosebud tips, great when you need a lot of heat, but they love fuel. Yes, they do. So those of you that are curious what a rosebud is, I'll grab the torch and I'll show you a close-up. Right there. That's a rosebud. Now I've cleaned this up. This is an older one. I just cleaned the outside. The tip was loose inside. I had to clean it up. I found the right size your tip cleaner because this tip hadn't been cleaned. I've got 2 of these. These are handy. Like you said, they're great when you need a lot of heat, but they do love fuel. Alright, the next question is from Digger Up. He's in New Mexico. Frank Constance, he says, hi sir. Raymond Brandit, you are now. Okay, so he must answer the question. Alright, so I'm not going to leave the phone setting here because I don't want coolant on it. So I'm going to actually like move it back there out of the way. Because I've got everything power corded here so nothing dies. And yes, I'm using the phone because it's handy. And I got a holder for it. Alright, I'm going to set it back right there and hopefully it doesn't fall. There, okay, and I can see it. Alright, so what we're going to do next, what I did was, and I'll show you guys down here now, and I'll zoom in. You can see I've already cut a lot of, because I'm going to move you guys to the back that way. You guys can already see I already cut a lot of this. I've got a couple passes left, looks like 2 or 3, and I'm going to show you through it. I actually have had to dress this cutter back here 3 times because that's a lot of cutting. It's a high-speed steel cutter. This is 4140 chromoly. Let me move the camera so you guys can get a good view. Pardon me while I zoom out. I got to pick up and move over the cords here so you guys get a good view. From the back you can see the cutting action. Alright, so for this first cut I'm just going to leave it wide so you guys can see what's going on. And okay, alright, let's see, I need to get, actually I need to plug in a power cord to power my, which is right here, because I'm going to have to plug, ooh, let me move that out of the way. Okay, that's off. Plug in my flood coolant, get it ready to start going. There, and it's set up the same thing it was last time. Alright, so now fire up the phase converter, fire up the mill, and everything is still set from last time. We'll come in through, make sure handles didn't get bumped. Okay, everything's still good. Everything still clears back through. We've still got our depth set. Alright. So all we're having to move is adjust our head. Now I've had people ask, hey, why don't you lock the head down? Well, when you actually put this in the little hole, that locks the head from moving. Okay? And the cutting ratio on this, I've talked about before in one of the other videos. It goes around 1 complete revolution and 9 holes for the 31 teeth that's on this gear. Okay, that moved it. Come in here, let it start cutting a little bit. Back up, turn my power feed on. let it start feeding in there, and away we go. Whoa! Well, there went that cutter. Man, it lasted all that way. Man, that was not fun. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, live and unedited. We just watched the cutter grenade. Boom. Wow. Well, let's see if we can find the other piece. It flew over here. That was not fun. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Well, it flew over here somewhere. It flew outside. Take a glance. I am pissed. Absolutely pissed. Oh, here it is. Or a piece of it. Son of a biscuit eater. There's part of it. That's that part. The other part's floating around somewhere. So now, pray tell, what do we do? So at this point, I believe this is the only cutter we had. Other questions? I watch you cut the gear. While back, you're cutting 2 passes by. Just 1 cut height. Was that full depth? Almost full depth. Actually, no, it was full depth. We were feeding low, but there was a lot of stress on this, and I was feeding low, slow, but God, man, you talk about being pissed. Well, I think what I'm going to do at this point, I mean, you could do a couple of cuts and go down, and I've been going really, really slow. I think what I'm going to do at this point is I've got a fly cutter that I've showed in other videos in the past, and I'm going to make, and I'll have to reset up everything. Let me see if I can find it. I did have it handy. I don't know where it's at right now, or is it over here? I haven't seen it since I moved. But anyway, I've got a fly cutter that's an R8 that fits in there. Son of a biscuit eater. I'm trying to keep it PG-13 if you will. Yeah. John Mills said, I need to cut a gear. Would you explain your gear cutter holder? I need to get one, but don't know what to get. All right, John Mills. It is what they call, the size is a BS0. Okay. Unless you're doing really, really big stuff and really, really big gears, it's what they call a universal dividing head. Sorry, my nose is itching. You figure out, you always do. Yeah, thanks, Raymond. So let me read the questions here. Sorry, my nose is itching. So you guys saw this catastrophic failure, and I'm sitting here looking at the video live, and there's a little bit of a delay. So as I said, I'm going to read the questions. So, son of a beep, 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 beep. Yeah, it sounds like Morse code. Translated to that, what you think it means. God, okay. Full depth, Patriot says, was that a full depth cut? Yes, it was. 210 thou. John Mills says, well, I need to cut a gear. Would you explain your gear cutter holder? I need to get one, but don't know what to get. It's a universal division head. It rotates up and down, and then the head spins 360. It has some graduation marks on it that are marked 1 through 36, or actually 1 through 30. Actually 1 through 36. They're 360 degrees. You can put a plate on here, like a not a backing plate, but just a regular plate, a fixture plate, and you can. It comes with a 3-jaw scroll chuck. It also comes with a center. It comes with a couple of other discs. Depending, any division head should come with extra, depending on your gear ratios, the different spacings. Okay, right now I think plate. They're usually marked 1, 2, and 3, but This is for like coarse settings, and then what I call medium and then fine. You see how close they are together. They're actually marked on here on divisions. So like on the coarse, when it goes 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, as you can see. And then this one goes 37, 39, 41, 43, 47, and 49. Okay? You see those numbers right where my middle finger is. And then on this gear here, it's 21, 30, or I'm sorry, 21, 20, let me get down here. It goes 21, 23, 27, 29, 31, and 33. In the book you get with this, I'm not going to pull it out, but it'll show in the back how to figure out how you count the teeth. There was 31 teeth on here, so that means that indicates how many teeth are on the gear. Okay, so it's 31 on here, so it's 31 teeth. It shows you on that chart that it needs to, when wherever you start 0 at, and you set your gates up, and in the book it showed 1 and 9 and 31 9. So it shows it goes around 1 complete revolution plus 9 holes, and then you put it in there, you cut your gear, move your gate around, you go around once, plus the 9 holes. That's what the gate's for. You set those, and you just keep going around and around and around. Also comes with a dead center and tailstock. You need to get the tailstock with it. Some people sell it without it. Get the head with the tailstock, with the scroll chuck. Some people sell these things with just a backing plate. Get it with, make sure it has the backing plate, because there might be something you have to do some machining on where you're going to need the backing plate. Get the 3-jaw chuck. Get it with the tailstock. And it's adjustable height and latitude, longitude, and the extra parts for it, like there's a little, well, that goes over here. Those, and in the center I have, and then there's an extra nut for it, for doing the tailstock, the dividing plate, and all that. I've got the plate put in over there. So, and it also has, I believe it's a Morse 2 taper for the center, if I remember right. So I hope that answers your question there. Raymond says, glad you're okay. James, you will figure it out. I always do. Yep. I have the dividing head, but need to get the gear cutter. Yep. So this is a universal division head. Now the gear cutter itself, the one that broke, depending on what size you need, there's a myriad of them out there. So we'll go ahead and discuss this, because I'm going to have to build me a cutter offline. So the cutter, there's 2 main gear pitches where gears are made. You're going to need some gear gauges, okay? And these both are made by, well, this set's made by Globe Stock Gears, and this set is made by Boston Gear. So the 2 main degrees that you have is a 14.5 degree pitch and a 20 degree pitch. Here's my take on gears. When you start reading about how to make gears, it can get really, really complicated in math. Math has never been one of my weak areas. I tell everybody that all the time. To keep it simple, stupid, the KISS principle. And if you're cutting a gear that you already have, it's pretty simple. You find your gauge, you match it to, it'll figure out, it's just like thread pitch gauges. It's gear pitch gauges, okay? They have little rings like this, and then I've got some that are on a round deal. To keep it simple, if we're recreating a gear we already have, we just measure the old gear. I'm not going to touch it because it's still hot. You find out and you go, oh, it's 31. Well, you count the teeth, you mark one, and I usually put a dot on the outside and then count it twice to make sure. And then I take the gears and I go, the gauges, and I figure out and I go, oh, okay, it's a 14.5 degree by, I believe it's 10. Let's see here. Yep, I believe that's what it is. So we found the 10 degree, or 10 diametrical pitch, 14.5 degree, which is what it is. We hold it up here and go, yep, and it fits in real nice. Okay. Another good thing is a good clue. Well, how deep does it need to be? that shows you the proper depth. Well, how deep does that tooth need to be? There's the proper depth. Same thing here for this giant one. How deep does it need to be? Unless it's a special custom, so you know how deep you need to go. You can measure from the valley to the peak here. Bingo, keeping it simple. Just grab a, you could grab the back of, well, try not to trip on that. It's over on the lathe. Let me grab it real quick and I'll show you. Again, I try to keep it simple. Grab my calipers here, digital calipers. All right. So the one we were cutting, which was 10 by 14 and a half, how deep do you need to cut or to figure out, so you know, because you know the gear's probably worn. So you come in here, you zero it out, and you just hold it across the top and go right down to the middle. And this says 224. That old worn gear was 210 thou. So the little gear and that gear, the big one, meshed together. They're both worn down that much. I didn't want to make the new one too deep, so I made it to match the same wear as the other one. So you wouldn't, because if the gears aren't the correct depth, they're going to make noise. So I purposely made this one the same wear depth as the other one, because I measured that one the same, and it was 210, 212, 215. That's just the wear pattern on the gear. So I wanted to make sure when I put a brand new gear with an old gear, it was the same depth of wear, so you wouldn't have a lot of noise. Again, this is an old Buffalo drill press. But again, if you have plans, you're making your own gears from scratch, you know, you're going to go with new measurements or whatever. But this is how I did it, just manual, old school. Try to simplify it, because if you start reading books and watching videos, you glaze over and you hear Bueller, Bueller, and the X and the Y with the V of the T of the, and it's just really, you know, we've all had those types of math teachers that you just wanted to strangle. So anyway, put this back here. This is over on the lathe. So what I'm going to do is dig up, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys ahead of time, I probably won't video it. I wanted to show cutting this, but the gear cutter exploded. I'm going to dig through and see if I've got another one. Hopefully I do. If not, then what I'm going to do, because silicon bronze is really, really, really hard, I'm going to dig through and create a, I've got some cobalt steel, stuff like this right here, some Momax, and I will grind a tool that's going to fit, and I'm going to fly cut this. Now I'm going to have to make several passes instead of one deep pass. It's going to be fun. I may or may not show video to it, but if I had another gear, I'd just slap it on and away we'd go. So the next question, no shrapnel, let's see, okay. Mature Patriot asks, no shrapnel injuries, that's always good, yep. Are you going to wait on a new gear cutter or grind a cutter on the fly? So a new gear cutter, okay, yeah. So a new gear for that, I'm sure, is pretty expensive. If I was having to build a lot, I'm gonna look and see if I can find one, because I, you know, need to replace it. We'll see. We'll look. Let's see. Just want to know about the holder. So the holder, I made the holder myself to fit the gear. I just measured it, and it's tightened on. I mean, I've seen several of them. It just has a little key and a washer and a nut. I made the arbor myself. We have a gear hob. Noise, wear. Noise equals wear. Well, when it's first cutting and going clack, clack, clack until it gets in and started, it always makes that noise. Fell on my chair in audio vision. Yep, yep. There you go, John. Yeah, that's what you do. fly cutters work great a lot because cutters, and you guys can pull it up on eBay and see, even used ones. Some guys are proud of them. You know, I'm gonna look and see if I can find one, because I know fly cutting it with silicon bronze is hard. It's not soft. And I know cutting from past experience, trying to cut silicon bronze with a fly cutting high-speed steel, it'll pretty much bounce off of it. So I'm going to look for another gear. Okay, that answers gear mesh noise. Yeah, well, I've got the belt in here. So this is a belt step. Everything's tight. You hear clunk, 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 clunk. And yeah, it's a 67 model. Yeah, there's a little gear mesh noise. So you guys got to see a spectacular, you know, I'm going to see if I can find another one of these. You know, depressing. It goes like that. So there's that much laying over here somewhere I got to find. And I'll dig through. And, you know, if anything, I've got good access in here to cut that piece off. And then when I go to grind, I've got a good pattern to match to. So that's the plus side to it. The positive side. Alright, so, yeah. Son of a gun. You gotta love it. I gotta get something to drink. I got a little cotton now. Drinking my iced tea here. Alright, so there you go, live and unedited. Man, I hate that happened. Let's see, what else? You should have seen me a while. So Digger Up states, you should have seen me a while. I was trying to confirm a dovetail measurement. 10 hours of figuring out, which included a 2-hour nap due to brain seizure and a bout of explosive diarrhea. PTSD from high school math. Yep, that's it. Yeah, stuff happens. What brand cutter was it? It was an old Brown and Sharp, I believe. Yep, Brown and Sharp Manufacturing, Providence, Rhode Island. And it hadn't been used before I got it. Let's see. Ralph says, Victory Machinery. Ralph Brown says you can go to Victory Machinery and get new cutters for cheap. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look into it because I know that's a cutter I'll probably use again because I'm just frustrated. It's like, oh man. So I'll have to dig through, do the eBay search thing and all that, and figure out, find that. I'm sure that same size is out there because I know. So cutting this, I mean, I could do a fly cutter, but oh my gosh, that is hard on the mill. In hard, I mean, it's 4140 chromoly, so I'm gonna look into that. It's just frustrating. Let's see, what else have we got? Because I planned on showing you guys cutting the rest of this, and kaboom. But you know what? I always say live and unedited. So you guys can see in the back of the shot. Well, actually, let me move that. There we go. I've posted pictures of that on social media. I had a bunch of pieces of varying types and sizes of material. Everyone's like, why didn't you cut them the same length? Well, the reason I didn't was because I welded them to some angle, bolted it to a board, and then mounted the board to the wall. I've got like a lot of wide belts, the 6-inch wides. So this one was really long. I had a piece of pipe on another, just a bunch of short pieces of pipe, some rebar. These were bent concrete stakes really bad, and I chopped the unbent ends off, and I just used up stuff I had lying around with the exception of the angle iron, so I could separate all my belts. And as you can see, I've got some pieces of wire. I had all that stuff hanging over here on the press, and it was always in the way. When I needed the press, I'd have to stop and move it. Big extension cord. These belts I don't use very often because they're for my hand belt sander and a real small belt sander that's an odd size I've got here. Then the other ones, again, these are small. The ones I'm going to use a lot are like these 30-inch ones and then these 42-inch ones. I got conditioning belts as well. So that was to free up a lot of room, because I know everyone's curious. I had to free up a lot of room. I know there's a couple of questions. On top of this shelf here. Bingo. So they were just thrown up there. Again, I'm still trying to organize stuff. There's the, you guys have asked about the engine build. Here's the pistons for that, and a lot of the other stuff is over here. But what I'm going to be able to do is, you see that shelf and that shelf, because stuff was kind of thrown there. Some of these boxes and tools that I don't use very often, I can take, for example, this is for the shopsmith, okay? Because I don't leave that on the back porch, and it's covered back porch. So I don't leave it out there, it'll go up here, and here's the other fence. So this is actually for the band saw. Here's the movable fence for the main saw. So stuff like that I'll go through, organize, charger, you know, other things that it was just kind of like set up there. I can finally get it organized. Tools that I don't use very often that are in boxes, they can go up here. I'm going to organize some more of this. I've got long items up here. You know, for example, things, this is a tool like, just like that. You can see why I'm going to, it's Jenga up here. So, tool set, you know, inside mics, these are large ones. I forget which this is. This is a number 124-C. So it's from, you know, that size on up to, you know, freaking huge. It's the for the large size. And that came off, and I stuck it in there, and I need to fix it. You know, something else the mover's messed up. Gotta love it. So yeah, things like that that I don't use very often, they will get put up there so I can free up room for other stuff and organize, and just like this. So here's something you don't see very often, and it's might as well, because everyone's always like, cool, you like to see shop stuff, kind of like what's in your box stuff. With speaking of what's in your box, I'm going to throw this out there for Keith Finner. I know, I'm guess if you guys don't know about it, go to Keith Finner's channel. The What's in Your Box giveaway. I've already got some tools rat hole that I'm going to send to Keith, but I'm going to wait until after the Bar Z Summer Bash. Speaking of, Bar Z Summer Bash 2018, Stan Zikoski, Bar Z Industrial, Rancho Cucamonga, last weekend in June. Find Stan on social media or his channel, Bar Z Industrial, Facebook. Get your hotel rooms, get everything. I plan on being there. Guys, I love going out there. I didn't make it last year. This year, I'm going to go. I've got lots of stuff I want to take, but wanted to throw that out there as well too. But things like this that I don't have room in the toolbox, and I still have in the original wrapping paper. Everyone's like, what's that? Let's see if it's on the box. No, it's not on the box. It's a newer one. It's not an old one, but I've got some old ones, but it still has the, whatever you call it, the wax paper or the anti-rust paper from Starrett. This is something I use very sparingly, and it's not one of the older ones, but it's the Starrett level. You've got that one there and that one on the end. This is the 24-inch version. I have every size of these from small up to 24-inch framing level. So yes, that one stays wrapped. You don't drop these, because if you drop these they fracture, and then you see grown men cry. So things like that will go up. And then I've got some other tools. I mean, I could sit there and show you all sorts of neat stuff. But there you go. Let's see, I know we got some more questions. Let's go over here and we'll do the question and answer thing. Excuse me. Might as well move that since we're not cutting there anymore. Man, that really still just ticks me off. Let's see. Where did we... My back itches. Oh, I've got to love it. Where's my back scratcher? Nope. I had one of those. That's what a long screwdriver is for. It's a back scratcher. I have some of those bamboo back scratchers, but they're in the house. All right, so let's continue on with reading questions here. Might as well. Busted a gear. Okay, let's see. Beat the bearing right out of the machine. Yeah, and that's why I really don't want to use a fly cutter on this hard stuff if I can avoid it. And you know what? I may try to make a type of cutter, and it would be pretty cool. I mean, I've got some blanks over there. Let me show you. This might be a cool build. You know, it's kind of like every time you have a setback. So here is, so I've got a couple of these, okay, and I had already roughed out, like, you know, it's already got the R8 turned, and I hadn't cut the keyway to mount the fly cutter at the angle or whatever. But this would be a pretty cool setup to have multiple, instead of a single hit and miss and hit and miss, to have, say, 4 turning low RPM, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. It'd be, I think it would be less trauma on, well, I know it would be less trauma on the machine. You know, we're not going to turn high speed. I was only turning, you know, 80 RPM. That'd be a neat build. A 4, so you just cut across and have set screws. I may do that. Let's see. Ralph Brown says shit happens. Yep, dig rock. I did make a gear for a cement mixer on the shaper. Last half of the depth, it was hammering pretty hard. That is why I didn't want to risk these in that. Understood. Looks like 36 inch. Yeah, you're right. That is probably a 36 inch. Mature Patriot says, I just logged in and was typing hi when it fragged. Yep. And this will, after, again guys, after this uploads, it'll turn into the replay. And that's why I'm reading the questions, because I had a gentleman, I believe it was just Tim, want to know about the questions, and so that's why I'm reading them, because they're like, why are you reading the questions? Remember, all this you guys are commenting goes away when the video, when I shut the video off and it processes, so that's why I'm reading the questions, so you guys can follow along the video. Plus it's like, okay, well, what were they talking about, so you're not left out of the conversation. I totally get it. Is Keith doing what's in your box? Yes, Keith is doing what's in your toolbox giveaway this year. He absolutely is. Check with Keith. I think he may not do that again. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Talk to Keith. I think it is. I'm not sure. Double check with Keith. You guys can find him on Facebook. You can private message him through his YouTube channel. So let's see, what else have we got? All right, so I'm trying to think of, but yeah, that would be a pretty good idea. Honestly, I'm going to look and see if I can find another one of these gears. That's the easiest, quickest way. You know, trying to reinvent the wheel and stuff, and because I really do, I have to cut that big gear. I have to. The small one, not so much, because it was trashed, honestly. That's why we were making the new one. So there you go. Anybody else have any questions on anything? I know this says it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but you know me, live and unedited. All right, let's see what else we got here. Make sure I didn't miss any questions in all this process. So yeah, I'll look through everything and see what's going on, see what I can find and figure out. Make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, guys and gals. Again, James Green, Short Series Shenanigans. I want to give a big thank you to you guys, the viewers, guys and gals out there. A shout out to my channel sponsors. You know, Big Gator tools. I use, I've talked about them in the past, drill and tap guides, as well as Drill Hog. I've got some neat stuff coming up. Okay, I've got a couple of questions. I'll read those just a little bit. A couple of neat things coming up. They just sent me some easy outs that I purchased, and we're going to be trying those out. I caught both styles here. Let me get them and show you guys. So I know I've got some easy out projects coming up, or some getter outs, both styles. Okay, and then the square, you've probably seen them on there, and they come in this nice little wood holder. Again, recently purchased these, and so I've been pleased with the stuff in the past. Again, on every get it out situation, that might work, it might not. That might work, it might not. I mean, there's all sorts of different tools used for getting things out. Make sure I didn't unplug the camera. That would not be good. All right, I think we've got 1 or 2 questions left. Make sure this didn't unplug. Nope. Okay. Let's see. Ralph Brown says, I build turkey shoot barrels, and one thing I've learned, take your time. That is absolutely true. Take your time on anything. Yeah, I bumped the camera and it spun. Sorry about that. And then we have okay, so he said from the last one he wanted to take a break from it. Okay. I've been so busy with moving at the end of the year, I didn't have a chance to watch the videos, so wanting to take a break, and I understand that. Keith has a very, very, very big, generous heart. What started out as something talking about Lalor's toolbox, I know this story very well, just ballooned, and it grew so big so fast it has really become a burden on him, taking up room in his small shop and a lot of time, and that can get to the point where it can hurt you financially. So I understand perfectly. I hadn't watched that last. That's how far behind I am on my video watching. So that's understandable. The sun will come out. That's true. Yep. That's true. Yep. I absolutely agree. True Patriot says, get a cup of coffee and relax. The sun will come up tomorrow. It sure will. So again, guys and gals, you got to see the spectacular failure of the gear. Basically, I was going to show you the rest of that, and then I do have to broach this gear. Now when I go to broach it, that I will do that live, because that's why, again, why I wanted to get everything off of my press and onto the wall, because I also have an air over hydraulic press. It's a 20-ton that I can fit in there and weld, so I don't have to sit there and crank. I can just hit the air handle and do the pressing process faster. So that's why I wanted to do that. All right, again, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the night. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I am going to try to do some just regular videos like I used to do, and I may do the broaching. I may do that just a standard video, since it's just a quick, simple, I'm going to broach the one gear and that's it, so I should be able to fit that in 30 minutes. Got some more stuff coming up. I'm always posting interesting things that I'm doing on social media. My public email address, if you guys have any questions, eagledustoff37@gmail.com. Reach out to me. I'll be putting a lot of stuff up on social media, you know, Instagram, eagledustoff37, and so I'm also on Facebook. I also have an Eagle Dust Off page on my personal one as well. One last look here. Make sure you can pre-slot the gear teeth with a slitting tool before. Yes, and I'm probably going to do that. Like, yes, I know that little trick. Bubba Joe X, Triple X. Yes, absolutely. And I will probably do, well, I more than likely will do that, especially on the silicon bronze. Whatever I can pull out pre-slotted to where I'm just taking it to the shape. You're absolutely right, because that's pretty wide at the back there, and that way it's just a matter of, and who knows, these last couple of, I don't know, it's frustrating. We'll figure out a way. It'll be interesting, to say the least. So there we go. Thanks again for watching, guys and gals. James Green, Short Serious Shenanigans. Take care of yourself and take care of your family, because remember, at the end of the day, you and your family is all you got. Until next time, get out in the garage, cut some gears, and hopefully your gear cutter don't break. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.